On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, new leadership. All at once, it seems many of Cincinnati's most enduring cultural institutions and nonprofits have new leaders. It's a seismic shift as this generation of directors and chief executives takes over from predecessors who built legacies that in some cases stretched over decades. The 7 institutions highlighted by the Courier are ArtsWave, the Cincinnati Art Museum, Cincinnati Museum Center, Greater Cincinnati Foundation, Mercantile Library, Scripps Howard Foundation, and the YWCA of Greater Cincinnati. With the investment of millions of dollars at stake, these organizations aren't just changing guard, they're changing business. As the influence of social media grows and Cincinnati piles up accolades as a great place to live and work, these entities are striving to become even more a part of the community. For some perspective on the changing leadership, we turn to Dan Hurley, Director of Leadership Cincinnati for the Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber. Dan also announced that this is his last year in that role, so he has some professional and personal perspective to offer this morning. He's in the studio with Business Courier editor Rob Dahlmeyer. Rob and Dan?
Kelly, thanks. Dan, thanks so much for being here. You have your own show, so thanks for sticking around for ours. Nobody's more plugged into you, especially with the crowd that Kelly just talked about and these really important nonprofit organizations. Why do you think, what's the spark for all this change we're seeing right now?
Well, I think there's multiple things that are going on. One is generational. Those of us who are baby boomers, and I was born in 1946, so a year from now I'll turn 70. Baby boomers, we maybe tended to work and hold on a little bit longer than people might have expected, but we're stepping down. So in some cases, it's clearing way. And the other situation is that there is an amazing reservoir of really good people in this community. So there are people ready to step up, give fresh energy, fresh perspective to these organizations, and I think the boards of these organizations know that there are succession possibilities, and therefore it's okay to move on.
You talk about local talent. These are, just because these institutions aren't trying to turn a profit doesn't mean they're not businesses, and they are big businesses, and they are critically important businesses. Their boards are filled with some of the most powerful people in the city. What do you think it says about Cincinnati that a lot of these people, a lot of these new leaders were already in town?
Oh, well, first off, there are a couple of these situations where it was a national search that looked all over, and then, for example, in the case of Greater Cincinnati Foundation, hired Ellen Katz from the Children's Home of Cincinnati, 15 miles down the road, because she is the best person. And so there is this reservoir. Secondly, I absolutely agree with you about the business side of this. These are some of the best run organizations. I happen to be on the board of St. Vincent de Paul, where Liz Carter left. It is the best run board I have ever served on in my 40 years of being out in the community.
Wow.
And it is a well-run business because they have these stores that they're selling, that it's social enterprise that is feeding the charitable part of the organization. These are smart businesses put together by smart people. They have a lot of people working for them, paying a lot of taxes, and serving other roles in the community. So these are very important institutions to our society.
And pretty much everybody, I'm going to brag on you for a second, pretty much everybody that we mentioned here came through Leadership Cincinnati, which you run. So, I mean, if you don't know much about Leadership Cincinnati, I know a ton of people who've gone through it, and it's a spectacular program, and Dan's been running that now for, I think, 8 years. So you're stepping down, though. Just give us a quick, why now, and what do you plan to do?
My wife and I had talked for some time that we turned 70 next summer, so June 30th next year, it hit me the other day as I was walking out of work. Exactly a year from then, I was going to be leaving the chamber for the last time. But you know, I have reinvented myself so many times. A very good friend of mine says that it's important that you don't retire from something, but you retire to something. And I am committed to understanding what that is. I mean, I know some things, I'm going to write books. I've got 3 books backed up that I don't have any time for right now. There's some very specific things I want to volunteer for in the community, and I'll reestablish Applied History Associates, which I ran for 20 years. I haven't been able to do that work for the last 7. I can do it again.
Well, I have a feeling that we're going to keep hearing from you. 70 is the new 50 anyway, so we'll see what happens. But thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Rob.
And back to you, Kelly.
Yeah, Dan Hurley can never retire. Never.